All right, Lady Ada, what is this?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Show and Tell. It's me, Lady Ada, with me, Mr. Lady Ada, broadcasting from kind of middle of Manhattan, Brooklyn.
It's going to take a while to get
I was going to say used to that. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
We're going to be hosting Show and Tell this week, and then next week we'll have...
GP's going to be hosting it, and then we're going to rotate the staff and more. Yep. So if you're watching this already recorded and you missed your chance to be on the Show and Tell, don't worry. We're here every single week. And not only are we here every single week, but we'll have some special months ahead, keyboard month, floppy disk month. So if you're just going to show off retro stuff, stay tuned to all of the places that we post online. And we'll have some new themes for each month as Adafruit gets into our new space. We have a little physical museum we're doing. We want to have virtual stuff. So anyways, with all that being said, Show and Tell is your chance to see what's going on with our staff as well and some of the projects we're working on.
And people in the community.
So speaking of...
Scott.
What you got going on, Scott?
What's your Scott?
Hello. Once again, I'm here frantically debugging before my...
That's right. That's what you do.
Let me share my window here. So what I was debugging is BLE HID. So Liz tested it out and discovered that it doesn't actually work. So HID is human interface device. It's how keyboards and gamepads and stuff work over BLE. So I just connected. I think it might be working. So I've got a S3 dev board here. I'm gonna see if it types a space.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm pressing the boot button and I'm typing spaces.
Oh, that's great, though. You look at the blink of HID keyboards.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, what would be cool demo? So I have this like LilyGo T-Deck that has the little like BlackBerry style keyboard on it. Like the reason my hobby is not CircuitPython is I found another bug. So I found an I2C bug. So I was hoping to show you typing actually something in, but only
HID BLE in general is really cool for the ESP S3. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And you know what the problem was? I hadn't implemented something. Well, like Doug. To do implement this. Oops.
Oh, it's like meaning to do fix. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Hey.
So there's a pull request for that, and now I'm looking at the I2C stuff. But it should be cool. You can now use and pretty much I think all of the Espressif chips will work except for the S2.
It doesn't have BLE yet.
That's the caveat, but also I should say the other caveat is any S3 boards with 4 megs flash also don't have BLE enabled.
Doesn't fit.
That's something that will shift things for 10, I think. But yeah. We're going to have to figure out the logistics of doing that.
Yeah, so. I know. I think Liz and Noe had a project they were going to do, and they were waiting for this fix. And
exactly, yep. This is the fix
week,
for them.
But when they're back, they'll be ready. That'll be cool.
Yeah, and there is a PR out, so the fix should be merged.
All right, people, if you have S3 CircuitPython board, check out BLE HID support.
All right, and Scott's going to be doing Deep Dive this week. Mm-hmm. So if you want to probably see some of this in action and more, is that a good time for people to stop by?
People are welcome to ask me about it, and I'm happy to talk about it. What I do on Deep Dive varies with what I've been doing that day.
Might be the RP2350 stuff where we're doing some stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. I've got 2 good feathers and 2 bad feathers on order, and we'll see if we can figure out.
Yeah, I want to get those feathers. Well, we'll figure it out. I'm sure it's something easy. And
okay.
We had the same issue with the RP24. It took us a while to get all the little like nits figured out, and then we went on a rampage. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Next up, live from the Adafruit Learning System in Playgrounds, I think Ann just posted up a cool guide. Cool note. What you got going on, Ann?
I did. I had promised I was going to get some stuff out of storage, and just this weekend, I got this beautiful little box. This harkens to about 2012, 2014. It's called a home theater PC. So it looks kind of like a component you might have in your stereo. But if you kind of open up, you kind of see PC components like this is a Blu-ray, DVD, HD DVD player.
This is really a home PC, not just like a PC inside of a like box without ports. This is a PC that is in your living room.
Correct. This is way before things like Apple TV and Mac Mini.
Like you have a computer in your living room.
Exactly. It is a PC.
Yeah.
Running Windows 7. It's got premium audio. It's got a little display here, which I'll try to show a bit in a minute. And they put something special into Windows 7. I've got this special remote. Actually, I'll show the keyboard first. No wires. It's RF. And Microsoft came out with their own remote control. And if you press this green button here, actually aimed at the IR receiver, it's doing something.
Yeah, it goes into media center mode.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like what we would think a smart TV or Chromecast or whatever would look like. They were doing this about 10 plus years ago. And, this has a TV tuner in it. You can record off the air right now. They had cable cards, but sometimes you had to rent them from the cable company and it was expensive and it was a weird thing. So oftentimes it was recorded over the air. You could play things off the internet-ish. It wasn't quite like today, of course, but this is something I posted on Twitter X, and the geeks started going wild. I tagged Adafruit, and all of a sudden Adafruit's feed is all full of people going, wow, what is that? Here, I'll show off the display for JP. It's not working. There you go, live TV. Anyways, I've written all this up on adafruit-playground.com, where anybody can post their interesting maker stuff. Written something up and pictures and the display working and all that. If anybody wants to find out about my build, about a little bit about home theater PCs in general, yeah.
All right. A little bit of odd trivia. So when you held up the remote, can you hold it up again?
Sure.
And you said press the green button. A million years ago, I worked on a project and we made a band called Press the Green Button. And Microsoft was our client. This is when I worked in advertising, and it was a really good band. And we put the songs from this band on the media center. And then
I've heard these songs.
The band was really popular and all the songs got pirated. And then eventually it was revealed that it was a Microsoft band. So for folks out there, if you Google Press the Green Button, music songs or whatever, you'll see really cool iconography and you'll find the songs. And if you look really close at the little mascot, it looks a little bit like Adabot. So this is like 20 years ago. You'll see there's a theme with some of the things that have been going on. But this was a really neat interface to interact with the PC. You use a remote and it would be a real PC and then would flip into Media Center Edition mode.
Should get them to come back and cover part shortage.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Adafruit does music and we're also an electronics company. Microsoft wanted to do something kind of really out there. And I was one of the people who convinced them to make a band. People thought it was Britney Spears. The singer was really good. Her name was Jamie. Anyways, so some.
Now you know about buttons.
Now you can, and they're like, what are we going to call the band? And we're like, Press the Green Button. So there's a band called Press the Green Button that was around for a bit. Thank you so much, Ann. Blast from the past. All right. Speaking of retro stuff and more, JP, you probably have something going on.
Yeah, I do. But now I want to find out all about Press the Green Button.
I'll send it. I'll send it to our internal team, and you'll be like, that looks like an Adafruit project. It's like this was even before Adafruit was. You were still.
Yeah, I know you yet.
You might have been in high school.
Top secret.
Ouch.
I know.
So, hey, I've got a couple quick things I wanted to show. So retro thing, I've been starting to pull apart this DEC VT100 terminal, and it's beautifully modular. I just got to the power supply because right now what it does is it smokes fuses. That's kind of all the thing can do if I turn it on. So I figure I need to start fixing the power supply. And the chassis here, if you turn it around, This is where we plug in power. That's the on switch. That's the fuse holder and the selector for voltage. Once you pop these little holder pins, you can just slide out the whole power supply there. And you can see it.
Oh man, classic.
It's right better there. So it's a giant switching power supply, pretty epic. It actually does not have any obviously bulging or leaking capacitors or anything that looks terrible. If we spin around to the back, you can see some heat buildup on a few areas. So that's where I'm going to start diagnosing components and hopefully getting replacements so that I can get this thing up and running again. One terrifying thing is these giant caps. They're just bolted to the board, I think, both mechanically and electrically. So those just look like screws. Don't just go touch those screws. You might
Don't touch those. Yeah, that's
terrible shock. Since who knows if it's still holding a charge. But so that's the power supply of the BT100, which is a fun thing I'm getting up to right now. The other thing I just put out a guide for this much smaller modern modular power supply, which is
I know. You just replace it, right?
I can just put this in here. Look, that's the USB-C power delivery power deliverer. So check out the Learn guide on that. That's out now. And last thing, while I'm used to having these CRTs that are too big to lug around too much, I just got my hands on a much smaller
Oh, the
CRT.
Watchman. Love that. I had one. I found one for like $10, like in college.
Great. So great. It's a Sony Watchman. It's a black and white CRT that's oriented
Does it work?
that away. It does not power on currently.
Okay.
Off of batteries yet, but I'll be getting to it. And it's just got like a little curve. Let me put it in this camera here. It's got a curved phosphor screen that it hits at this kind of oblique angle. So the CRT, we're used to seeing a screen here get hit. This actually lights up the phosphor on that little curved screen there, and that's how it works. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get that up and running, but that'll be.
It's so like 90s.
It's so Sony.
It's so Sony.
Yeah.
Sony, and you know what? I am always so happy when I get a piece of Sony gear used and they did not peel off the little sticker with those.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They're saving it.
I love it. It's on there. That beautiful purple for the Watchman there. So
I mean, like that era of design was just like amazing, so good.
So nice. Okay,
the PSP Vita was also like beautiful. I mean, it's interesting. They had like an era of like really beautiful design that kind of just fell off. Like
this one I think says it's 1986 ish. I thought I saw a date on there. Yeah, it's around
it's very Blade Runner too. You can kind of see the inspiration.
Very cool. Well, that might go into our.
I was thinking
museum.
I could send you guys for the museum.
I don't know where mine went. I had one, and it worked, but couldn't pick up good. It was really hard to get good reception.
And actually, I think that's the second smallest CRT I have. That's technically a CRT because I have a.
You have a camcorder.
High camcorder, and the eyepiece was about a 0.8 inch. This is a 2.7. So that's probably the smallest, and that one actually works. I've seen that one light up in 10 years. So, one day these kinds of screens will be portable.
All right.
I know. Amazing.
I posted some press to green button graphics in the Discord. Check it out. Okay. Thank you so much, JP. Don't forget to tune into JP's workshop, and we'll do a JP product pick of the week highlight on Ask an Engineer tonight. Thank you so much, JP. And JP is going to be the host of Show and Tell next week.
That's right.
JP.
Yep. Come by with the smallest CRT that you have.
Yes.
Yeah, or the biggest one. Okay. Erin, and then we'll go to Squid. Erin, what you got going on this week?
Hello, I am showing off my chandelier. It looks really small, but it's actually really big. It's very, very high up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a project I've been working on for the last, couple months. It's a commission for some burner friends of mine who are crazy unicorns, and they're going to be putting it up in their house. And this week I've been working on mapping. So right now it is running WLED, which is free open source software. It does kind of some cool stuff. I can control it from my phone right here. You can see there's like sparkles and glitter and all kinds of fun stuff. But I wanted to level it up a little bit more than this. And so I've been playing with ways to get it actually mapped. These just means that it's all, you can run 2-dimensional animations and that kind of thing. I have not been able to get this working with WLED, but I have been able to get it working with LED Lab, which is not a free open source software, but it's been written by this guy, Christopher Shart, he makes really big scale art, like the Perluna, like lots of really big stuff that you might see out of Burning Man. So here I have LED Lab running, and it runs on an iPad. And my goodness, I spent like 2 weeks trying to get this thing mapped in WLED. It involved a bunch of graph paper and crawling around on the floor, writing numbers and erasing them. Then I came back with LED Lab, and I was able to get this thing mapped in about 10 minutes.
Yay!
Some of these really cool. Look at the kind of cool stuff it can do. I've got what's going on my screen actually manifests up there, and it runs video clips. It could do sound reactive stuff just using the iPad's camera, and it just gives me these incredible, detailed, amazing LED animations. Just it's very cool. There's so many controls and so many different things you can do with this. And then the mapping just came out absolutely perfect. All I did was shoot the camera at the thing for a couple minutes, and it turned on every light in sequence and then remembered where they were. And then that created the LED map. And now I can just run all these sequences and scenes right on there.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a touch me one where I just touch the screen, and what I touch just shows up on there. Audio interactive that just happens through the iPad. I don't have to have a microphone in there or anything like that. And then I can upload my own videos. I can also make, show where it's synced to music and that kind of thing. But then, of course, as soon as I close the iPad, LED Lab stops running, but it gracefully fails right back to WLED, which is really cool. Here. So if I've got this out, I'm going to take it to the Autumn Lights Festival in Oakland, and if I've got it out at the show and there's people watching, I can actually do a performance on it, and then just walk away.
Yeah, good hack that you have 2 modes that it can run on. That's nice.
It's really nice, yeah. And they both run on the Cutie Pie, the little Cutie Pie Pico in there. Actually, I don't know. This one might have a feather in it, but yeah, either one. The WLED just will sort of broadcast to ArtNet, and LED Labs picks that up.
Okay.
All right, and tonight, a special video treat. If all of you watching out there love the smell of Crayola crayons, you too can make a crayon-based candle. Erin will show you how in a video that we have tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Me too.
And
it almost turned out into a little horse in the sunset. I did that on purpose, totally.
Even though the Crayola crayon smell is trademarked, don't worry. You could still make a candle yourself to get that earthy, leathery Crayola smell.
TM.
Yeah. All right. So we have that on tonight's show.
All right. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you, Erin.
That's great.
All right. We're going to go to squid.jpg. What you got going on?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, those are nice.
Thank you. I recently wrote an article on Adafruit Playground about some firmware I wrote in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling it Sparkle Specs. But Halloween's coming up. I've had these glasses for a few years. I got them in an Ada box, and I wanted to do something with them this year finally. Kind of the thing is, though, there's a bunch of really cool starter projects out there, but it's kind of a hassle to like juggle them all and put the one I want on there when I want it. So I just went ahead and compiled a bunch of the Adafruit starter projects that were my favorites. Put a couple of new ones in there, added a whole bunch of new features to it. It connects to the Bluefruit Connect app. I built a little adapter, a Bluefruit adapter for a nunchuck. Let's see. So you can also plug this in and use it to control things like the eyes here. I can see move them around, and I can blink and scowl.
For a costume or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to have a bunch of modes, but I also wanted it to work just on its own. So, if you disconnect the nunchuck, it kind of goes back to just an automatic activity for every mode that it has, if it even has like, a nunchuck kind of overlay. And then I also wanted to have a way for it to remember my settings, because with all these different modes, you know, and you can customize like the colors and things, and I didn't want to have to do that like every time I turned them on and set it up. So I also made it so you could attach an EEPROM breakout onto there.
Oh.
And if it's optional, so again, you know, you don't have to use it, but if you've got it plugged in, it'll take advantage of it. And so yeah, I'll just want to go through and show off some of the modes real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see this one is the kind of the Adafruit homage, you know, the classic Robo face demo. And so yeah, you can change all this. I've got like a monster eyes set up so that I could do like, I think this would work well with like a dragon or something like that. This particular color scheme.
Yep.
And I like the eyes are like a little bit oval.
Ooh.
Yeah. I worked really hard on that. Like, I use Phil B's like anti-aliasing code to scale it down, and I worked really hard just to get like the perfect shape.
Yeah,
Thanks. And yeah, so here is the classic Cylon mode from a show not many people know about called Battlestar Galactica. I added a couple of other little things to it.
Oh, that's nice.
And then like just a little kind of mode there, and you can do things like change the speed of it, or
Nice.
yeah. So there's that, and you can change the color as well. The color picker works in pretty much every mode. You can also use the nunchuck to change the colors in a lot of the modes. And with this, again, you can control everything here. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so on to the next one. This is, again, just another Adafruit starter that I crammed in here. It works with the accelerometer.
Oh, neat.
To give you the googly readings. Yeah. And you can also control that with the nunchuck. You can use the accelerometer on the nunchuck as well to turn it, or the stick. So that's kind of a neat little thing. And again, you can change the color there if you want to. Let's see. And I'm using the app actually to kind of switch back and forth between these modes. So that makes it pretty handy as well. And this one is inspired by a different Adafruit project that the Ruiz brothers did. It was a like NeoPixel VU meter. And so I just kind of adapted that to this.
Yeah.
See, it seemed like a pretty low-hanging fruit. And this one is another one from the starter demos. It's the sound reactive
that's great.
spectrum analyzer with the little white tops. You can actually turn the white tops off if you want them to be the same color as the bars. And you can override the color again if you want. I think the rainbow mode is the coolest, but you know, to each their own. And then this is one that I made. Let's see if I can get a little close. It's sound reactive as well, and it creates sparkles of varying intensity and brightness based on.
That looks great.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Yeah, and so there's that one, and then for the last one is another one of my favorite ones.
Show and tell.
It's the kind of classic scrolling marquee stuff, and this one again takes advantage of the cool anti-aliasing stuff Phil B did. So I can use a much bigger font and scale it down, and it's especially more readable at a distance. And you can use the app to set the message again really easily using the UART tool. And yeah, that's
outstanding. I like that you were able to take an open source project that we released some years ago, and then add all the upgrades. If this was like a product where it's like, I'm gonna have memory storage, I'm going to have Bluetooth control, I'm gonna have a joystick, I'm gonna play Pong on the glasses, I have a visualizer, I'm gonna combine them all, and then I
went over the top.
Then you use Playgrounds, which we launched not too long ago for anyone to come along and publish their projects that they do, and it doesn't have to be Adafruit stuff, but it's helpful. And thank you for sharing this with the world. Like, I think that's
absolutely. Thank you for Playgrounds and for making it so easy to do that. It's been huge for me. I love it.
And then
I'm just remembering how long it took me to route that board. It was 2 solid weeks. It was 4 hours of routing to get all the little LEDs in. But
I was looking at it the other day and just like amazed at how intricate it was.
Yeah, and to make it 2-layer, I had to make it inexpensive, so it's like not intricate but inexpensive. And I wanted to have slat spacing, and there's also a number of you can't have infinite LEDs on that driver. So it's like you had to make it so it's like you had the LEDs like it was a 15 by 5, and then round, and then have it all routed. Boy, it was like a lot of mappings, but
it was worth it. This is one of my favorite things that Adafruit's ever released, and it's so versatile. Like, like in about 2 weeks of collecting all these things and kind of coming up with ideas, I was able to kind of put this all together. And it's really, just because of how great this product is and all the open source code that you guys have out there, that made it really easy to do.
Yeah, and this is why we do AdaBox, because you get an AdaBox and you might end up doing projects with it for years, which you've shown. So
absolutely,
this is great. Well, thank you so much for not only sharing this.
One more thing, if I can, I figured out today how to make it so that I could release a UF2 for this, so that you don't have to compile it all. You can just drag and drop it onto your board like a CircuitPython installation. So if you would like to put it on your glasses and you have it yourself, it's really, really easy. Like I said, you don't need any of the extras to try it out. You can actually change all the modes on here with the built-in button. Yeah, just using the built-in button.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
All right, sweet.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for sharing all these smarts on playgrounds. It's a great example of what folks can do with open source.
Sure thing. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
All righty. That is our show for tonight. Thanks for making this the best 30 minutes or so of our week every single week. Show and Tell is every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
See you next
Ask
week.
an Engineer, starts in just a few minutes. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for coming by.
Bye, everybody.